Well, hello there and good evening. Welcome to our March 20th, 2025 Kirkwood, Missouri City Council meeting and happy first day of spring. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Mayor Gibbons is absent this evening. Deputy Mayor Zimmer.
Here.
Councilmember Reinecker is also absent. Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Councilmember Jacksetic.
Here.
Councilmember Lizzo. Here. Councilmember McLean.
Here. Thank you. Mayor Gibbons is absent this evening. I'm Mark Zimmer, Deputy Mayor of the City of Kirkwood, filling in for the mayor during tonight's meeting. Now, since there are no introductions or recognitions or presentations, we will now move to public hearings. At this time, the council will recess to conduct a public hearing regarding a request for a vacation of a 25 feet wide right-of-way on a tract of land being part of Lot 7 of Robin Hood, recorded in Plat Book 57, page 34, located in the city of Kirkwood, St. Louis County, Missouri. Mr. Hessel, do you wish to enter any exhibits into the record, sir?
You know, Mayor, I would for the last time. Exhibit 1 is an affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in St. Louis County, and Exhibit 2 is an affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in the Webster Kirkwood Times. Exhibit 3 is a list of property owners to whom notice of this hearing has been sent. Exhibit 4 is a viewer map showing the property that is subject of the public hearing as well as the surrounding properties. And Exhibit 5 is the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kirkwood.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hawes, who will present this issue to the city council?
That would be the city engineer, Richard Holsinger.
You. Welcome, Rich.
Thank you. All right, good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm presenting on a right-of-way vacation at the subject location that you just mentioned. The vacation petition and attachments have been reviewed by the Public Services Department and submitted to the city clerk. The request is from the property owner of 1521 Friar Lane. The width of the existing right-of-way to be vacated is 25 feet. The proposed vacation is only the portion of the Woodbine Avenue at the rear of that property. An existing 10-foot wide easement for an 8-inch VCP sanitary sewer maintained by MSD crosses the proposed vacated right-of-way and will remain. The proposed vacation is only for the portion of Woodbine Avenue at 1521 Friar Lane. The property owner, it's kind of hard to see, but that's the piece of right away there. The property owner has received letters of approval to vacate from Spire, AT&T, Missouri American Water, Ameren, MSD, Charter, Kirkwood Water, and Kirkwood Electric. Finally, the right-of-way vacation exhibit, it's on this slide, details the location of the vacation. If this bill is adopted by City Council, a certified copy will be sent to the petitioner to be recorded at the St. Louis County Recorder of Deeds at their expense. A copy of the recorded ordinance will then be submitted by the petitioner to the Public Services Department. This concludes my presentation.
Okay. Rich? Do we have any questions or comments from the council? Let's go in order, please. Councilmember Schaefer.
I do. So thank you, Deputy Mayor. The either side of that, is that, of that property, is that vacated on either side of that? Do you know?
No, this is open. I call it Paper Street. It's,
Right. It's Old Paper Streets,
Right.
exactly.
and I think it goes 2 parcels this way.
Okay. And then the other way, same way,
The other way doesn't know.
doesn't
I
exist.
think
or-
they acquired that years ago.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Um, Think that, oh, and they're going to consolidate that into this lot, do you know?
I don't know. It was recommended that they do that.
Okay, but it's not part of the,
No,
Okay.
it's not.
okay, thanks, Rick, appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Jack Sadek. Councilmember Litzo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. What is the purpose of the request for this vacation? Do you know, Rick?
The owner didn't tell me why. I don't know. He just bought the property a few months ago, so I don't know if it's for some future project, but he wouldn't tell us.
Okay, and MSD requests that that they still have rights of easement or whatever across the property.
Yeah, that dotted line that goes through there,
Yes.
that's where their sanitary sewer runs.
Right, so they need to, yeah,
That
Um,
stays the way it is.
yeah, okay. Well, actually, I mean, this is an aside on this, because I know the neighbor at 1515 and I was just there, so I heard something about a new house going up, so I guess that's what this is all about.
I haven't heard anything.
Or, I don't know if allow Mark to come up and talk about this, or,
You have to waive Robert's Rules of Order.
Mhm.
Again, I'm not sure how that's particularly relevant to the vacation of the easement, but if you want to ask what people's intentions are after, you could.
I mean, it's just a point of interest of why the request. But I don't think I have any other questions. I was just curious as to why the request and just for this property, but okay. That's all. Thanks, Rick.
All right, thank you. Councilmember McLean.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, or you mayor tonight. How do we?
Always deputy.
Interim? I don't know.
Hey, Mayor.
So this is a right of way we're vacating. Does that mean that the property owner currently owns this property and these different entities have a right of way?
Well, this one does. It's a paper street that's been there for a long time. And over time, people have acquired it.
So so if it's a right of way, they already own the property, do they have to consolidate?
They don't own it because it's right away. The boundary of it sits inside of the subdivision. So that's why that property owner gets a selection on it.
Why would they get it versus the property owners behind them? On the other side?
Because it's inside the subdivision. The other side is not inside that subdivision.
We normally do not get involved in determining who takes ownership of property that is vacated. The issue for the city council is whether or not the city council believes that the city needs or wants this property. It's a paper street that has never been used. We have vacated a lot of paper
I know we have.
streets.
I was just gonna.
And some of them, to your point, Mark, sometimes, and you have to go way back in time is when the subdivision was created. It could be that an adjoining property owner has a claim to half of it or a portion of it. We never get in the middle of that. That's between those property owners.
Well, I think Rich might have answered my question, because this came up in my subdivision, my area, half. And it was, I had a conversation with Amy, and her point was that if this particular, I thought it was property owned by the city of Kirkwood, not a right of way. I thought it was property owned by the city of Kirkwood between Parkland, then it would be split between the property owners.
No. An easement, you have to go back and determine, the city doesn't own the property. City holds a right-of-way easement, and then you vacate the easement, and then the property reverts back to the property owners from whence it came. There are certain circumstances in certain cities where the city actually owns the property upon which the street is laid. We, to the best of my knowledge, and Rich would know better than I, most of our, if not all of ours, are right-of-way easements where we don't actually own the property. And every time we vacated it, we are vacating not, if we owned it, I would be advising you to transfer it by deed, which we're not doing.
Right.
You vacate the easement right of way and it reverts back to the property owner, again, from whence it came. I'm assuming there's enough evidence that this property, the person involved in this will get it all, but I don't know.
I guess I'm being ignorant on this, because I'm thinking, I'm thinking in my mind, all right, if it's a right of way, who owns this property right now? Is it the current property owner, or is it, okay, so if it's a current property owner owns it, all the right of ways are gone, but it's already part of his parcel. There won't have to be a consolidation.
Again, I don't know what, I don't know enough about what the property owners intend to do with it. I don't go down that path. With all due respect, it's none of my business.
Well, I guess it's only, it was raised, consolidation
I
was
understand.
raised, and so it piqued a question in my mind of how that actually worked.
You know how consolidation works, it's real simple. Staff handles it. Whether or not you need a
Right.
consolidation is a different issue.
Well, it's two lots combined into one.
Maybe. Correct. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. You're
Consolidation.
right, if the city owned it.
Right, right.
No, I understand the questions. I have the same ones.
You have the same answer, don't you?
I do.
Getting back to Nancy's point, yeah, if it's, you're probably right, it's gonna be a developer and they want more land, and so they want more space to build a smaller house.
But I'll-
I was with you right
Well-
at the end.
Yeah, me too.
I have no further questions.
No further questions.
Anything else?
Curtain around.
There is an applicant on this. City initiated, as I understand it. Rich, is this city initiated or was this an application for a vacation?
Application by the
We
resident.
have an applicant.
Right,
So is the applicant here this evening?
Yes.
None.
They are.
Yes. And
And we don't have to waive Roberts.
Okay, right. Would you care to address the council?
we do if it's me talking. Right, and he owns the other parcel in back of it, right?
State your name and address for the record, please.
Mark Camphaefner at 452 Meyer. My wife and I are the homeowners of the parcel immediately across the right-of-way from the parcel at 1521 Friar. We built that house 25 years ago and moved to Kirkwood. And now, approaching retirement, plan on building our retirement house, a one-story house in this location of this house.
On Friar.
Just start by, Mr. Hessel, thank you for your years of service
Oh,
to
thank you
Kirkwood.
very much.
Really
Appreciate
appreciate it. Really to address what our motivation for this vacation of the right of way is to preserve the trees. When we purchased the property at our existing house 25 years ago, it was so overgrown and infested with invasive species, we didn't even know there was a creek at the back of the property. We've worked for 25 years to remove the invasive species and plant understory trees, and we'd like to preserve that view as we build our new house. So that's our motivation for this right of way. There's no utilities on it, and we preserving the view of the wooded creek area as we build the new house.
Thanks, Mark.
Anybody of the council have questions as I'm here?
Very nice. Thank
You
you.
answered my question. Thank
One-story
you.
house.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
And
Stay up.
preserving the
Doing it to
trees.
preserve trees.
And preserve the trees.
Preserve trees. Pine oaks.
Okay, any final questions? We'll now move on to comments from the public. David, has anyone completed a card wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Mayor and council, there are no requests for comment at this time.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments from the council? Hearing no further discussion, this public hearing is now closed. The bill will be on the April 3rd council meeting agenda for first reading consideration. Thank you. We will now move to public comments.
Yes, public comments, 3-minute limit per person. The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council, the chief administrative officer, or city clerk if action is needed.
Thank you. David, has anyone filled out a yellow comment card this evening who wishes to make a public comment?
Deputy Mayor and Council, there are several requests for comment. The first is Jacob Trimble.
Just by chance, is there a timer that I can watch? Because can be really
I
wordy.
will
So
keep track, and if you're at 3 minutes, I'll just raise my hand. and say-
understood. I appreciate it so much. Good evening, council and staff. My name is Jacob Trimble. I am the Director of Planning at St. Louis County, 41 South Central in Clayton, Missouri. Before I make some comments, I first want to give a public shout out to one of your dedicated public staff. The community of Kirkwood has an incredible array of assets, and this government has an incredible public servant team. I want to shout out to your Director of Planning, Jonathan Raish. He has an incredible reputation. I'm using the word incredible a lot. He has a really great reputation in the field in this region, and this community is lucky to have someone of his caliber leading your zoning and development team and his entire staff. So I just wanted to let you know how well regarded Jonathan is in our region in the planning field. So I have two comments that I want to make to this body tonight. First is I want to bring to your attention some of the good things that are going on at St. Louis County government. Namely, my department is spearheading work on a new comprehensive plan for St. Louis County. St. Louis County 2050, an equitable and sustainable comprehensive plan, is our first comprehensive plan in more than 40 years at county government. And a county comprehensive plan has sort of two focuses. We look at our unincorporated residents for whom we serve as the local government body. But we're also looking at all 523 square miles and all 1 million of our residents in St. Louis County to set a long-term vision for county government and how we can be partnering with communities such as Kirkwood and all of our 87 municipalities to further the goals as put forward in the plan. We have identified 5 key issues that are facing all of our residents in St. Louis County, whether you are unincorporated or in a municipality. We are facing issues of population stagnation in St. Louis County. We've had the same population for 50 years in St. Louis County, and that's reflected here in Kirkwood. Kirkwood's population has been essentially the same at nearly 30,000 residents since 1970, and the 2020 census shows similar numbers. That leads to other issues. The fiscal constraints that our governments are experiencing can be tied back to our lack of growth but also our building of a very large infrastructure system since 1970 that requires a very large share of, and this body is quite well aware of the very large share that these infrastructure systems cost our residents. We're experiencing a job skills mismatch here in St. Louis County. We have a housing affordability and diversity crisis here in St. Louis County. Residents who are getting older are finding that they're struggling to age in place, and yet residents who are younger who want to move to our region or who want to root and stay here in St. Louis County are not finding the housing that they need at affordable prices. And additionally, we're experiencing other social and environmental resilience issues. But what I want to say is I'm an eternal optimist. I believe that St. Louis County and its residents and all of our partners, we have all the tools that we need to be a vibrant, thriving region. And St. Louis County 2050 is county government's attempt to set that long-range vision. And I would be happy at a subsequent meeting if there would be any intent from the community to engage with me on that.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you so much.
Mike Fitzgerald.
Mike Fitzgerald, 729 Cleveland Avenue here in Kirkwood. Tonight, I come before you with a very simple request. I am asking the council to pass a resolution in support of our embattled federal workforce. 2 weeks ago, the St. Louis County Council passed exactly such a resolution. In the emails they sent each council member earlier this week, I included a copy of the St. Louis County document to serve as a guide for drafting the resolution I am proposing tonight. Now you may ask, why should the Kirkwood City Council adopt such a resolution? 2 reasons, basically. First, because the federal workforce is the backbone of the American way of life. These are the people who keep us safe, who keep us healthy, who keep us the beneficiaries of the most prosperous, freest society in human history. By adopting a resolution I'm proposing, you will be sending an important message. You see these people. You support them at a moment of great crisis. And second, very importantly, by adopting this resolution, you will be pushing back against the reckless and cruel agenda of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They are laying waste to our federal government in ways that are heartless and illegal, and that may cause irreparable harm to our nation and our world. If you know any federal workers who've been laid off, you know that they and their families are in free fall right now. And this is why I'm making a second request tonight, to reach out to the federal workers and help them find jobs and resources. St. Louis County has already taken such a step. Last week, County Executive Sam Page announced the creation of a special website to help laid-off workers find jobs with the county, which will also hold a series of resource fairs later this year to help them find jobs, retraining opportunities, and health insurance. I propose that the Kirkwood City Council do the same, perhaps teaming up with local nonprofits or the Kirkwood DePere Chamber of Commerce. Folks, federal workers represent the best of us. About 1/3 of them are veterans. These are people who protect us from hurricanes and terrorists, who help us after natural disasters, who ensure our skies and roadways are safe. They deserve our most sincere appreciation. But how are Musk and Trump treating them? They're treating them like trash being tossed into a landfill. What Trump and Musk are doing is terribly self-defeating. I mean, who lays off 7,000 IRS agents at the height of the tax season? This is an incredible gift to tax cheats, while the rest of us will see our refunds delayed by months. To add insult and injury, Musk has terminated these tax agents on the grounds of poor performance, even though the Trump White House knows this is a lie, according to the ProPublica website. This is so wrong and so cruel. It is incumbent on all of us, regardless of political party, to support our federal workers. All of you in this council have a legacy to consider. Years from now, when you look back on this fraught moment in our nation's history, I call on you to envision how you remember your words and actions. If you adopt a resolution supporting federal workers, I guarantee you will consider it one of your legacy's proudest achievements. For you'll be standing up for the America that we all love and want to protect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Betty Montano.
Well, good evening, Deputy Mayor, City Council, staff, and whatever your name is. Betty Montano, 104 Altamira Court, Darden Prairie. Okay, I had to write this down because I knew I was going to get emotional about it, so please bear with me. I am the former city clerk and a survivor of the tragedy that took place in this very room on February 7th, 2008. I'm here tonight because of the Medal of Valor recipient, John Hessel. The Medal of Valor is bestowed upon members of the police departments around the area who have showed bravery and valor in a time of great risk to themselves and others. It is rarely given to a civilian. If not for Mr. Hessel, also known as the man who threw chairs, I wouldn't be here tonight speaking with you. Give me a moment. Because of Mr. Hessel's actions that night, I, along with many others, survived to live another day. The memorial walkway memorializes the tragedy of that evening so future generations know the history of that sad but historic event. It should also memorialize the courageous actions of Mr. Hessel in saving lives. I am here to request that in honor of Mr. Hessel's extraordinary actions that night, thereby saving many lives, that the memorial walkway be renamed the John M. Hessel Memorial Walkway. I've spoken to some other survivors, current and retired employees, who strongly agree with my request of the renaming of the memorial walkway. I ask that you look deep within your souls and ask that you grant my formal request for the John M. Hessel Memorial Walkway. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor and Council, there are no additional requests for comment.
Okay, thank you, sir. We will now move to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Any questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer? Councilmember Jack-Sedek? Councilmember Litzo? Councilmember McLean?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Consent agenda now passes. We will now move to unfinished business, Bill 11069A.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance adopting and improving the operating and fiscal capital budgets for the city of Kirkwood for the fiscal year April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026, and appropriating such sums as are set forth herein for all departments and the accounts therein specified for all expenditures of the city of such year, which appropriations total $130,101,910. Capital projects of $31,022,110, appropriating the sum of $800,300 for payment of interfund loans, and reappropriating $1,959,460 for previously approved projects that will be incomplete as of March 31, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Hawes. Questions or comments on Bill 11069A? Councilmember Schaefer.
I will reserve my time.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Jack-Sedek.
Yes, I have a few comments. As some of you may remember, I abstained the last go-round, just kind of wanting to wait and see how the vote on the water rate increase, which was already included in the budget, where that would go. And it also gave me time. I mean, I've really struggled with this year's budget. The council's faced many challenges this year, getting up to date, getting financial information, have not been able to get up-to-date actuals. And the budget is really based on last year's budget. And I know there's been a myriad of variables that have made it complicated. But for me in my role, not having the financial information, actuals, has made this a little struggle process for me. We're facing many challenges going forward. We have 70 million plus in debt. That is, I think we have a $6+ million debt payment every year. We have several capital projects that aren't even in our 5-year radar that will pose significant revenue needs. We are seeing a flattening, maybe slight increase in our revenue, and given some legislative action at the state level and at the county level, we're going to continue to be challenged in revenue growth. And we're seeing a rapid increase in our expenditures. Again, that's a few of the challenges facing us going forward. I am going to support this, even though I have some hesitancy in there. I have confidence in this council that I think everybody understands where we are and is committed to moving us ahead in the next year. And I think everybody really understands the challenges. So I am going to support it, but it is in recognition of this is not a stopping place. This is a starting place as we try and navigate the next year. Again, there's some staffing issues that I would also like to address. Many know that I am really prioritizing or concerned about public safety abilities and staffing, and making sure that as a community, we are providing the resources we need to in public safety, and not to I mean, just to build on what Betty, Betty and some in this room are everyday examples of why our public safety should be our number one priority in this community. And every time I work with police or fire or walk in this room, I recognize the importance of public safety to all of those who live and work and play in Kirkwood. So again, it's a commitment I'm making going forward. And again, I appreciate having the opportunity to work with this council. And I have great hope going forward. We'll see good things come out of it.
Member? Councilmember Letso.
Well, I also have reservations about the water rate increase, but we also have massive capital needs in water. So, based on the water rate study that we received a few months ago, it was determined that that amount was necessary to rebuild the fund and take care of capital and other operational. So, I mean, that's unfortunately, in this economy, in this day and age, that's part of having our own water department, our own water distribution system. So, it is not something that, I relish, but I understand that it's something that we definitely need. I appreciate Gina's tweaks to the budget and looking at overtime and all of her other time spent on all of the issues that we discussed last time. I have faith, having been on council now almost 11 years, I have faith in our professional staff. I have faith in council that as, any kind of unanticipated changes in the budget that might further impact our already fairly conservative budget, should they arise, we have the ability to react, and we've done it before. We did it with COVID. So with the ERP system on the verge of full integration, that should help with a lot of the issues that have been ongoing. A very complicated system across the board in the city of Kirkwood being integrated, being created for the city and now being integrated. So that should help streamline and improve operations, and looking forward to this coming fiscal year of having access to the kinds of figures that Gina's talking about so that council can help keep a closer eye on what's going on as we navigate kind of, uncertain waters as, with the global economy, with our national economy. So, that's basically it. I support this. I have the same reservations. I mean, but we have to look forward, and I have lots of faith in the Kirkwood community and our citizens and business owners and everything. And at this moment, I think we're in a great place, but we got to keep our eye on what's going on. Thank you.
Councilmember McLean.
Kind of scary. We all have reservations about this, but we're all going to pass this anyway. Kind of, why are we doing that? I think because hotbox, it's late in the game. Never been brought to us this late. I understand there's a new ERP system, and that's going to solve the problem, or that'll help alleviate this issue going forward. Russ, we hope so, because we don't want to be in this position again next year, this late in the game, kind of being forced to do some of the things. I agree with the council's vote to increase the overtime pay. It matches the reality. It's kind of disappointing that council or Gina had to actually bring this to everyone's attention versus department heads. They look at the actual numbers the last few years. Well, maybe we should increase the overtime. So that makes sense. That's good. But I don't like the fact that we increased their overtime pay and increased their budget, the police 120,000, the fire 88,000, without requiring either department to cut back on any expenses. As we said, all right, police department, you guys can have $120,000 more than you asked for. Fire department, you get 88,000 more than you asked for. It's a time that we all know it's tough. As Regina said, revenues are flat, expenses are up. And I know Russ is doing a good job. He's working hard to try to find these cuts. And here we are giving these departments more money than they asked for. I don't like that fact. Here we are. Why didn't we address these issues sooner? It gets back to this ERP system, and I hope going forward, we're given this information sooner. Then we have the issue with the $710,000 transfer from the water fund that we didn't approve. That's a concern. This is supposed to be a generating enterprise fund for us, yet 3 of the last 4 years, we're not getting any money from them. Why do we have an investment that we're not generating any benefit from? That needs to really be, looked into. Why the residents continue to own this quote unquote investment when it's not paying any dividends? So that's a big issue out there. And then, finally, we have some KPAC staffing that's going to be rearranged that we're going to see later on this evening. That, I would prefer to make the budget changes now, but I've been advised, no, we need to continue the budget and then amend the budget later for KPAC for these things. Again, it's just the whole thing of rushing this thing through at the last minute. And I have faith that this council will look at it better next year if given the opportunity. My spiel for the night, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. McLean. Well, I will make my own comments. I agree with the comments that have been made. This has been a difficult year because of a transition to a new system. We have a fairly new finance director who's learning the ropes. So there's been a lot of changes. And we also have a fairly new mix on the council. For years, and this is, I guess, from my background being on the finance committee, for years, I've seen expenses in the city of Kirkwood rise on 13 years of budgets, almost 14 years of budgets. Our expenses have continued to increase every single year. We had a recent work session, and there was a chart on the screen, and it showed those expenses going up every single year after year. As Councilmember Jack Sedek noted, our revenues have been flat. They've been flat for a long time. They've gone up a little bit, which is why we've tried to do some things to increase those revenues, which is very, very important. We want to continue to increase our revenues to stay ahead of those expenses. I think that, as far as the overtime's concerned, I think we need to take a hard look at staffing to reduce those overtime amounts, because it's not just the overtime, it's, workers' comp, it's claims, it's other additional expenses when you have staff, especially our first responders, working a lot of overtime. There's additional money that is unseen. And in my years of business, when you hire additional staff and you decrease overtime, your costs go down. So I think we really need to take a hard look at where we need to have our staffing levels to address the overtime issue, period. As far as future budgets, I think, I have confidence in our city administration. They have kept us going forward for many, many years. We reacted very quickly during COVID. I've always commended Mr. Hawes on how the city reacted to that, because compared to a lot of other municipalities, we did very well reacting to that situation. But, we're assuming that our revenues are always going to go up, that we may not face another economic downturn, and that would be a problem for Kirkwood. So we need to be prepared to make tough decisions in the next year or two, because we're probably going to have to. I don't see expenses going down. They have not over the last decade. So we're going to have to make some tough decisions, but I think we have a council that's watching this. We have a good city administration that's watching it, and I'm confident that we will make good decisions to keep this budget moving forward. And thank you to our city administration for all of your hard work in putting this together. That's all that I have. Any final comments on this bill? Okay, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sedek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Bill 11069A passes final reading. Bill 11070.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance approving the budget of the Special Business District for the fiscal year April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer.
None.
Councilmember Jack Sadek.
No.
Councilmember Litzo.
No.
Councilmember McLean.
No.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Bill 11070 passes final reading. Bill 11071.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance amending the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Article 8, Section 14396, Schedule F, speed limit designations.
Questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer.
I'd just like to say thanks to Skit for reviewing this as well. And that one of the requests that I had put in, and I'm glad to see that's here, that we're lowering this, not only the speed limit between East Jefferson, excuse me, and Kirkwood Road and Clay, that we're going to get a crosswalk between PJ's and Duffy's, which I think has been needed for a long time. So I'm very happy with this, and I'm very happy that we're going to get some speed signs up, and we're doing some safety stuff here that I'm after. So thank you.
Councilmember Jack Sadek.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Litzo.
Oh, nothing. Thank you.
Councilmember McLean.
I just want to reiterate what Mr. Schaefer said, and so I would just wonder if those crosswalk will have straight lines or zigzaggy lines.
There'll be straight lines. You know, this is part.
The John Hessel Memorial Crosswalk.
There we go, between PJ's and Duffy's, there we go.
It's a backup.
All those in favor?
Or parking spot.
Will they be?
Plan B.
That's right, that's
Maybe
right.
He'd rather have that than.
One of our goals, one of our goals in the city of Kirkwood under our Vision Zero plan is safety in our streets, safety for our pedestrians, our bikers, and our drivers. You know, this ordinance reflects that commitment to Vision Zero so that we can continue to enforce and enhance safety in Kirkwood. All right, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer, Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Bill passes final reading. We will now move on to new business. Bill 11072.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance adopting a revised City of Kirkwood classification and pay plan.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second to accept Bill 11072 for first reading?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer.
I had one that I talked to Russ already about, that in this, that the staff doesn't recommend, that the CAO will recommend for future approvals. So I think that's something that should be changed. So, amendment, or we would have just scratch it and move it? Or what do we want to do? Counselor?
You could do it either way. You can make a motion, or you could treat it as a clerical matter and simply change the word staff to chief.
Where are we looking at first? So I can.
Where the
Whereas.
1, 2, 3, fourth whereas clause.
Okay.
Which currently reads staff recommends approval of the changes.
Okay.
We would change that to chief administrative.
Would we like to just?
That would, it would be accurate to say the chief administrative officer recommends.
The clerical.
Mhm.
Cole?
No.
Yep.
We will change that as a clerical error.
Perfect.
All right.
Good
Any other
discussion.
comments?
No, that would
Okay.
be it for this
All
one.
right. Thank you. Councilmember Jack Sadek.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion on this one. I move that we continue Bill 11072 until the April 3rd meeting.
Do we have a second on
I'll
that?
second that.
So my discussion now comes. Let's See, I'm learning, John, just in the nick of time. This kind of, I know, and Liz isn't even here, so I don't have to, anyway. This kind of has come to us last minute. We have lots of questions trying to get them answered. Russ has done the best he can to get answers, but I feel like there's still quite a few more questions out there. We don't have all 7 council members here. I just think it's let's bring it the following meeting. Give us time to talk about it in a work session or in the council chambers with the full council, either way. But I just think we're better served to dive a little bit into this a little bit more.
Okay. Any other comments on this amendment?
The motion, it only requires a majority of those who are present, so it only
Okay.
needs 3.
Thank you.
Any other comments on this motion? Carlito?
Well, I was just, Russ, do you have any problem with continuing this to the next meeting?
I wouldn't recommend it because we have staff who are ready to take on the position of general manager were it to be completed as early in April as possible, because if we wait till April 17th to fulfill this requirement, it's basically an 18-day delay in the operational functionality that this benefits. I don't think it's worth it. This is a simple approval of city council of a new position that's been explained ad nauseum to city council over the past few weeks. I don't know why you would want to continue it, to tell you the truth. It flabbergasts me. I don't know what's so difficult about this for the city council. It is simple, it is straightforward, and it saves the city money, and I've outlined it over and over and over again in multiple emails over the past week. What do you need more? I'll answer it right now.
My motion's on the table. I'd rather us vote on that.
I wasn't going to say anything until someone asked.
Right, I know, but I would rather us follow the motion. And, just as a point of clarification, if we denied this, your staff over there would have to still post a position, interview, make some decisions to hire, and that could
Correct.
take months either way. So I do think out of our commitment to making sure we get our questions and financial information timely, we've met for months on, or for weeks on the budget, and no new positions were brought up. I understand it's kind of a last minute opportunity, but I would rather, instead of getting into a heated debate with you at the dais, I would rather us vote on this motion and move forward.
No need for a heated debate. I can give you anything you need right now, Ms. Jackson.
I would like us to, for the council to make a decision at this point.
Councilmember Schaefer, comments?
Next, but I already did.
Okay, just make sure. Councilmember
But-
McLean.
I agree with Russ. It's saving $21,000 in budget. So my question I posed to Russ was, I want to do an amendment to this year's budget, reducing the KPAC budget by $21,000. And then, well, we can't do that. It takes time to do that. I think that's kind of partly where this comes into play. It's not as easy as just saying, let's take $21,000 out of the budget. Get back to the police and fire department. Well, we did the overtime, we increased their budgets. My fear is we're gonna do the same thing with KPAC by putting this position in there. But now, Russ, I understand the person that's at KPAC now is moving over to a different position in the parks.
Yes, that is the intent is, well, if you'd like me to go through what's actually happening here and why it's happened the way it has, I can certainly do that, but I want to know that council wants to hear that.
Well, I guess my question is, if it's the same person that's gonna be working either at KPAC or at Parks, can this person work at KPAC for an extra couple of weeks and not go to Parks?
No.
Parks.
That's out of the question. They've accepted the position to start as of April 1. The last day at KPAC will be March 31st. So that person will have vacated their position, and we need to have the capability to handle the functionality of contracts being paid, any number of invoices, vendor capabilities, concessions work.
I get that, but, and this is the difference between public and private. If I'm in a private business and you have a person moving from one department to another, in this situation, I would just say, hey, listen, we need you here in this department for another week or two while we fill this position. And you're telling me that that can't happen because this is a public, even though she's staying within the Parks Department itself?
It's an agreement that she signed that she will transfer, and we have signed it, that she will transfer within the city to this other position. If we renege on that agreement, we'll hold her for another 2 weeks and she can determine if she wants to stay with the city or not.
What's the position in the Parks Department that she's moving to?
Office manager in the community center.
Oh, again, it gets back to, we're throwing this at the last minute and we're being forced into a position that,
If I could clarify, no one's forcing anybody into a position. This is an opportunity that has a time frame that came up as a result of a person leaving the city at, I would say, is an inopportune time, but then anytime a person leaves the city, it's an inopportune time. This would be brought to you if it were in November at the same time, under the same circumstances as right now. There is nothing different that it is at the end of the fiscal year and the beginning of the next fiscal year. The only difference is that the budget would have to be amended after this move is done. And it just seems weird because it's a new fiscal year budget. But if it were the existing budget and this happened in November, City Council could amend it in December. There is really no functional difference of when this occurs.
but
And
she's not leaving.
then there's no pressure on council other than the fact this is an opportunity that if you let it slip, so be it. We'll function.
In this case, she's not leaving the city. She's staying with the city. In fact, she's staying within the same Parks Department.
I'd rather not get into personnel discussions about individuals who can be identified publicly. It's not, council's well aware of the situation. If council wants to delay it, that's fine. I will explain to the people out there, we got to wait 2 weeks. I think it's totally, absolutely, and pathetically unnecessary. That is my opinion. People ask it.
That's fair. I respect it.
So my question is this, bill, this is first reading. If we deny the motion to continue and we vote on it and it passes, we would still have time for some discussion.
100%.
So, maybe that's an option that, the next work session we have, we can dig into this a little bit more.
Call a special session. I'll be glad to lay every single piece of paper I've got on it out in front of everybody.
Maybe that's something that we could do. We decide we're going to vote against the motion.
Yeah, I still want the motion voted on. I'm
Okay.
not going to withdraw it.
All right. Well, all in favor of the motion to continue, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay.
Okay.
Motion fails. So now we can have a discussion on the bill itself. Councilmember Schaefer, any final comments?
Well, we've heard a lot of it tonight
We
already.
have, yes.
And we will get a lot more clarification. And I know we've had emails back and forth and emails back and forth. And I'm just going to say, I didn't get into the last one, but we rush things and we need more time to look at things so that we're understanding it better. This is not how I ran my business and this isn't the way most people do. We take the time to completely understand what's going on here and not by emails back and forth. So again, I would say I will vote in favor of moving this bill forward tonight. Only with the idea that we have a second reading on this, that we can amend things at that point in time. where I'm at with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Jack Sadek, any final comments?
Again, we opted not to have a work session today and have a chance to discuss this. Again, lots of reasons why, I get it. A lot of conversation via email, which I don't think is the right way to enter this. I will abstain. Again, I am a process person and I like to know what I'm voting on. And I do think we'll have some good conversation, hopefully before the next vote comes up and we don't have to do it all in a confrontational moment in the city council chambers.
Thank you. Councilmember Lutzo.
I have nothing.
Councilmember McLean.
I'm gonna chalk this up to growing pains with the new council. You know, we are trying and it's different than we're used to in the private world.
Well, my comment is, I think we have a lot of good questions. I think this council has good questions and, wanting further explanation. We have time to get those questions answered before the next vote. So that will give us an opportunity now that we know we want more information on this and you would like more information. We can get that information. We can have an in-person discussion and we can arrange that afterwards before we vote the next time. So I think this is a good way to save some money. I understand what we're trying to do here with this. So hopefully we can get explanation so everybody understands it. Like I said, it will save us almost $22,000. So, that might be a plus for us. So, yep. Okay, all in favor of first reading of Bill 11072, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstain. Okay. Bill 11072 has passed first reading. Resolution 15, 2025.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution of the City of Kirkwood, Missouri, approving appointments to the Board of Directors of the Manchester-Lindbergh Southeast Community Improvement District.
Do I have a motion for Resolution 15, 2025?
So moved.
Second? Questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer.
And
Member Jack Sadek.
None.
Councilmember Lutzo.
None.
Member McLean.
Who are William Franny Jr., Peter Bierman, and Stephen Ryjelski? The residents of Kirkwood?
Can't answer that. Everyone knows a CID was created back in, this is for the property,
2015, I think.
yeah, 10 years ago. That's right. And they were members of the board when it was formed. When you form a CID, you don't have to be residents of the city of Kirkwood. I've forgotten candidly what the qualifications are under the state statute, but it's their board. And obviously they're seeking to reappoint some people and appoint new members for board. Really, there's state statute, the city council has to approve it, but there's really not much discretion involved, Mark. So the answer to your question is, I don't know if they meet the statutory requirements,
curious.
but I assume they do.
Dude, I'd never heard of them before, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think when we
Any-
discussed this initially, John, that they had to be residents.
I don't think
I
they
don't care if
do.
they are or not necessarily. I just was curious.
I suspect that they are people who are involved in the business aspect of Fresh Time.
Then my only other question, I'll ask to Russ would be, do we have any issues with the CID or anything?
No, the CID has functioned as designed.
It's good. Okay, great. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer, Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lutzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 16, 2025.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Enterprise Consulting Group in the amount of $17,389.42 for the purchase of checkpoint software support and maintenance for the MIS department, and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Okay, do I have a motion for Resolution 16, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer?
None.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
None.
Councilmember Litzo?
I have none, but I see the MIS director here, so I don't know if he wants to talk about this or he was just thinking we'd have some questions and that's why he showed up.
He's shaking his head no.
Hoping no.
I'm guessing he doesn't want to make
He's
any
hoping
comments
no.
this evening. Thank you.
Are you hoping no back there? You're hoping no. You just came in case somebody had a question? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for attending this entertaining session here. I have no questions.
Okay, Councilmember McLean.
Totally off the subject, I think, but this reminds me of the city of Kirkwood's website and the utilities payment. And so whoever was in charge of the Kirkwood Utilities website for getting out the change in payment and making sure people knew. Thank you. I actually went in myself, didn't have any problems changing the payment, and which was shocking because I'm not very computer literate. So thank you for you guys. for
I'm
doing
going
a
to
great
speak
job.
up for our finance staff, for our Jessica, who was out there for us. But but the finance staff
Love it.
actually helped set up the payment systems. Jessica got the word out.
The team effort, yes.
Did you notice?
Great staff, absolutely 100%.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, Jessica. I actually went in myself and made the changes and I had some questions. I posted my comments on my experience to help citizens and hopefully that helped. But thank you for getting that out. Thank you. All right. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 17-2025.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the proposal of Middendorf and Royce Construction Incorporated at the rates provided in the memo, copy of which is attached here too and incorporated by reference herein, for general contracting services for the city of Kirkwood on an as-needed basis for an initial term of 12 months with the option to renew for up to 4 additional 12-month terms, contingent upon budgetary approval, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you, Deputy. I would like to say I took the time to call up Trace, who's the department head for this, and spent half an hour talking to him about this particular contract, and he was very good at explaining it to me, explaining that this is a contracting firm that they utilize where their in-house staff can't get to some of the things like installing somebody's bronze plaque outside and some things like that. And who would that be? And so he was very forthright with me and explained how this works. There'll be other that will be coming in front of us, and I will be taking that same amount of time with him so that he can explain to me how this operation works. So when we're spending citizens' money, I will continue to ask a couple of things that he did explain to me. It's a $15,000 limit. He oversees the projects as they go on. I was worried about how vague the qualifications, I guess that's not the exact word I'm looking for here, but he set my mind to ease. He explained how it works. I've seen their actual work. They put the new entrances on over at the police department, and I think they did a great job over there doing those. And so I'll be voting in favor of this particular bill. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Jack Sadek.
I have no questions.
Councilmember Litzo.
Russ, I don't recall doing this before. This sounds like a new improvement that Trace has come up with, that we have actually like a GC on call. So it can help move projects along, especially under 15,000 small jobs, and just get it done instead of,
Well, I mean, it's not new. We've actually had Middendorf and Rice under contract previously.
okay.
And we've had others under contract prior to them. But it is a good innovative approach to things to cover the smaller projects that are beyond the level of our staff's expertise. That is correct. So I agree with you 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Fine.
Thank you for having that conversation with them, and thank you for.
Wonderful. All right. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes,
Councilmember McLean.
Resolution 17, 2025 passes. We will now move on to city council reports. Councilmember Schaefer.
Thank you. Well, the first, we had Board of Adjustment, and the one item that was in front of them passed unanimously. So, and then if you'll let me have another minute, Deputy
I
Mayor?
shall.
Give me 1 second. That's just a small bottle, and
And immediately.
for you and Pat, just for you two. For everything, my friend, thank you. For everything, all the counseling that you've done to me over the years, thank you for all of that.
Been a pleasure,
Mine.
really.
So thank you.
We'll toast you.
There you go.
Might be soon.
Right. All right, thank you. Councilmember Jack Sadek.
All right, I'm ready. I don't have a gift though, but you'll have to listen to me talk, which I know
Can I
is,
share this with Jane?
It's yours now. Pass.
and you're used to me talking, so this is good. So I've thought long and hard how to kind of pay tribute to you. And, for those of us who have known you and worked with you for years, we get it. But there are many out there who might just know you from little snippets or new to the community. So I wanted to come up with an analogy that would help them understand what you mean to Kirkwood. So I'm not a Bob McCullough, but I have known you for a long time, and you've known my dad prior to that. So I feel like I might be able to cover a bunch of those years. So here goes. The person I'm going to compare you to is Tom Brady. So this is my Tom Brady. Don't, don't, Pat, don't worry. There's a part in here for you. All right. So
Goodness.
my Tom Brady and John Hessel analogy. Some of you will relate to Tom Brady and some of you will kind of go direct to John Hessel. So both were good-looking men in their younger years, aged gracefully, and have maintained a remarkable youthful appearance. Both married supermodels, although John is still married to his. She shows up and supports him. Now, I'm not sure if she's here just to make sure you don't unretire, but she is here, no doubt, in support. Yeah. Both apparently played football. One of them went all the way to the big league, and one ended somewhere in the college years,
Oh, yeah,
correct? Okay.
I did.
Both have had great accomplishments over their years in their respective fields, setting some records along the way with a few inflate gates too. Well, maybe just Brady on that inflate gate fun. So we'll just leave that to him. Both survived, thrived, working in one organization for most, if not all of their careers, although one did make millions and one did okay. Both stayed longer in those great careers than most normal people would. Maybe they were just both overachievers. Both had more than one retirement, worked, retired, and then one found a different job paying him millions during the winter. and one is planning on getting a new snow blower so he can better shovel his driveway. Both of them are getting tangible reminders for of their greatness for generations to come. One is getting a 12-foot bronze statue outside Gillette Stadium, and one got a room in the back of City Hall. What I understand tonight is a bronze plaque that will go somewhere in City Hall.
It's already up.
But it's up there,
Oh,
and it's
then-
bronze. It's a little bit smaller than 12 foot, but, and eventually, due to Betty's wisdom, he might get something outside too. One is 47 and soon to be 48 this year, and one has been with Kirkwood for 47 years, the first time, and one to grow on, which makes that 48 the magical number for both. And last but not least, one is known as the NFL GOAT, and one will surely be known as the Kirkwood GOAT once he leaves this room for the last time. And so as John wraps up the night, I hope some of you will sit back with me. We'll watch him gather his stuff and walk off into the sunset, and then we'll just go, there goes the GOAT. Thank you for your 47 plus 1 years. Thank you to your wife for sharing you with us. And we wish you well. And I do hope you get a snowblower.
I do too, Gina.
So I would have brought that, but I didn't get one in time. So good luck.
Gina, thank you very much. That was well done. Although I'm still not sure I understand the comparison between me and Brady, other than my wife I got.
Oh, you better correct that. You better, you better go to that's the most comparable to him.
Councilmember
Nice.
Lizzo.
I didn't realize how old John was until I realized that all of a sudden he was here when Brady was born.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Supposed to mention that.
Love.
Hey, Mark, it's not your turn
The
yet.
love here.
You know, it's
It's not
always
your
good to
turn
be
yet, Mark.
knocked out.
That in case I have to do this again.
Councilmember Lizzo.
Well, I can't, that's way too hard an act to follow from Councilmember Jack Sedek, and very clever. And I thought very well, delivered and thought out. I've already said thank you very much. You are a fixture in these chambers. You're a fixture in this building. You are a fixture in the city, and I don't begrudge you your retirement. I love retirement from getting paid. But I'm going to miss you, John. And I know you're still going to be around, but I'm going to miss you in these chambers. Looking very much forward to getting to know Jackie. I'm sure she's going to be a great replacement. But enormous appreciation, and you remain in my heart. I don't know that I can speak for the rest, but I will anyway, in our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. Feel the same.
Councilmember McLean.
John, we love you, but John who? It's Jackie, right?
Take a breath.
John, we love you. I mean, I knew you before really here, just in the legal world. And you were phenomenal there. You're phenomenal here. I really hope the best for you in your retirement, your true retirement. We'll make sure Jackie doesn't go anywhere, so you have to come back.
Appreciate that.
And thank you for sharing them with us for all these years. I know it's hard every much. What's that? You want me to come back?
More than welcome. The emphasis on more. I love it. Oh, my goodness.
All right. Well, since I'm serving my deputy mayor duties tonight, I have a little something, and it's really hard to go after the wonderful speeches we've heard. I'll give it my best here because the tributes tonight were just excellent. So tonight, March 20th, 2025, is Mr. John M. Hessel's final evening as our Kirkwood City Attorney. To honor Mr. Hessel, I'd like to provide some history of his career tonight. Mr. Hessel had just graduated from St. Louis University School of Law and, at 25 years of age, was hired by the law firm of Evans, Hemke, and Casey under City Attorney Bob Hemke as the Assistant City Attorney of Kirkwood in 1977. Now, John, I'm not going to tell you how old I was in 1977. but
I will,
wasn't
John.
driving yet.
I will tell
Don't
you how
say-
old he
you
was.
will
He told
not-
me.
You're not going to say. But I was not driving yet. Mr. Hemke was described by John as a brilliant lawyer and a very important mentor to his career. John also served as the prosecuting attorney in Kirkwood, as well as the attorney for the Board of Adjustment, Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Hessel transitioned with the city as the new city charter was adopted in 1983 and became effective January 1st, 1984. In 1985, Bob and Shirley Hemke moved out of Kirkwood. John said he was stunned at the time, as Mr. Hemke could no longer serve as city attorney due to the residency requirement that the citizens recently repealed last year. But did. Bruce Woodruff with Armstrong Teasdale was named city attorney at the time, and Norella Huggins was named assistant city attorney under the administration of Mayor Herb Jones. After several months, a conflict of interest arose between Armstrong Teasdale and then Union Electric. The city council at the time agreed there was a conflict. An RFP was issued in 1986 to hire a new city attorney, and Mr. Hessel, then with his firm now, Lewis Rice, got the job. Congratulations.
Ripe old age of 33.
Very good. For many years, John Hessel provided legal counsel and advice not only to mayors and councils, but to city administration and employees. In September of 2007, Mayor Mike Swoboda issued a proclamation for a John Hessel Day in the city of Kirkwood to honor his 30 years then of service to Kirkwood. February 7th, 2008 is a very tender day of memory for Kirkwood. Mr. Hessel was present then in these council chambers. Many good public servants gave their lives to Kirkwood that night. John, because of your bravery and your citizenship, you stood for what is right, you fought back, and you saved people's lives. This should be noted and remembered by future Kirkwoodians. And you honored those great people, sir, by continuing to serve this great city of Kirkwood, and we thank you for that. John, your career in Kirkwood represents decades of good advice, sound legal counsel, and friendship to several city administrations, dozens of city employees, 6 mayors, a few deputy mayors, and many city councils. Your greatest accomplishment is your longevity, your long and lustrous 48-year career with Kirkwood. You gained the trust of our public servants. You helped steer Kirkwood in the best direction possible. And because of your character, experience, and legal expertise, we all listen to your advice. Tonight, as we reflect on your career, John, Kirkwood can be assured it employed one of the best. Last year, I was quoted on your first retirement as follows. You have been such an inspiration to the city of Kirkwood. Your experience and your contributions will reverberate for decades to come. Thank you for everything you've done for the city of Kirkwood. Well, I can't say that better myself. So now that you will have your first and third Thursday evenings free, and I don't know what's on TV on Thursdays, and you don't know what's on TV, please remember this. Mrs. Hessel has had the television remote control all to herself for all these years. She may not want that to change. She may not want that to change. Now, if the TV remote becomes a legal issue, she may send you back here. You will certainly enjoy spending time with your family, children, and your wonderful grandchildren. And you might squeeze in a round or 2 of golf. Mr. John M. Hessel, on behalf of the city of Kirkwood and the Kirkwood City Council, thank you for your 48 years of citizenship, hard work, and public service. We are truly grateful for your commitment to the city of Kirkwood. Congratulations on your retirement, and this time, it's real. Mr. Hessel's turn to say a few words.
3 minutes.
Timing you on this one.
I'm actually overwhelmed by the comments that I just heard. Thank you very much. I am so touched by them that it really is hard for me to express my appreciation for it. I'll do my best. This really is my last meeting, and I know you've heard this before. But hopefully it will not be the last time I appear in a role before you, because hopefully Jackie will, on occasion, want to do better things, other things I meant, not better. And I would be happy to come back and sit in this position. You would think that after retiring once before that I'd be better at giving sort of a retirement speech, but I'm really not sure that I can do any better other than to repeat what a privilege and honor it has been to serve as the city attorney over all of these years. I can't begin to thank the current city council as well as the former council members and mayors that I've served under. I don't mean to correct you, but you said 6. It's actually 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, counting Liz. It's been an honor, and I hope all of the citizens understand and appreciate how much work, time, and effort that all of you put in as elected officials. I suspect that the newly elected officials didn't realize how much a time commitment it is, and it truly is. I've represented other cities, and the time commitment that the Kirkwood City Council members put in is vastly more than I've seen in other municipalities. And it's because you all care so much about the city and you just want to get it right and keep this city moving forward. As we all know, Kirkwood is identified as the premier city in St. Louis County. It's in your hands, and I'm confident that it will remain in good stead and we will continue forward. I think I've been remiss in my prior retirement speeches in not thanking all of the city staff enough. It has been a great experience working with the city staff. I really hope and wish that the citizens could have that experience and realize how dedicated, committed, and skilled the city staff is. We are truly blessed to have the employees that we do. I could mention all of the stars, but it would be too long a list. It truly would. I mean, one was mentioned today by St. Louis County, Jonathan Raish. Jessica mentioned herself. Just kidding.
She is good.
She is good. Yeah, I could go on and on and on about the city staff. I have made some very, very good friends, lifelong friends with members of the city council, but also with the city staff. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated visiting with them, talking with them. We do engage in legal conversations, if you will, but we also engage in personal conversations. So I get to meet and enjoy having them as friends and colleagues. I do, although I don't want to point out people individually, I do want to give my praise and thanks to Lori and to Betty as city clerks.
I love it.
Needless to say, I work have worked with the city clerk quite a bit. And again, I hope the citizens realize how critical the city clerk is to the operations of the city and what a great job our city clerks have done over these many, many years. Likewise, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Russ. Again, I work very, very closely with Russ. Russ had the problem, if I can put it that way, of following Mike Brown, who I worked with. For those of you who didn't know Mike, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to meet him. He truly was an icon in this city. He became a dear, dear friend of mine. I miss him now. And I hope that his legacy lives on longer than mine, because he did a much better job than I do. Again, Russ, I know how hard you work. I know how conscientious you are, how you truly have the best interests of the city in mind at all of the time. And the decisions that you make, I know are not easy. You and I have had many conversations about the decisions that you have to make as the chief operating officer, the chief administrative officer of the city of Kirkwood. It's not an easy task. You're juggling a lot of balls, and you have my greatest admiration for the work that you do. So thank you. And as you mentioned at the last meeting, I hope that our friendship will go on and remain for much, much longer.
Thank you. It will.
So again, thank all of you. I guess I do want to make one comment based upon Betty's comments. And Betty's a dear friend, and I truly do appreciate her suggestion. That would be an honor beyond words. But at the same token, I have to recognize Steve Geyer and Paul Falsters. Don't lose track of those police officers came in and engaged in heroic acts beyond what I can do. And that goes for the entire police department. So again, it would be a great honor, but I humbly suggest that that honor should be bestowed upon the police department, not me. With that, I will bid you adieu, as they say, and thank you very much.
Thank you, John. That was beautiful. And we are all very blessed to know you and work with you. Very much so.
Appreciate that.
Chief Administrative Officer reports.
I don't have anything to report other than it's been a pleasure working with John and gonna miss him.
One last time for Mr. John M. Hessel, City Attorney reports.
I have nothing to report. I think I just did.
Just-
Well, I'm going to report that I'm giving this to Jackie.
Excellent.
Gonna have it. And I will
Leaving it in
miss you.
good hands.
I really will miss it. Maybe. So.
Maybe.
Thank you, John. City Clerk reports.
Yes. So I'll just, John, I'm gonna see you here next week on Tuesday. So I'm gonna expect your access badge back then so I can keep you from City Hall. I mean, this has been enough, okay? No.
Chris going out.
Ah, are you feeling it yet?
Absolutely.
John,
Don't let the door answer.
oh, and also, we're gonna have some good coffee next Tuesday. As a farewell, don't get used to it, Jackie. It's not gonna happen again. So, so John, I'm not gonna say goodbye to you next Tuesday, and I'm not gonna say goodbye to you tonight, but I want to say thank you. You have been a pleasure to work with. You've guided the city through countless issues and a lot of tough love for all of us, but that's what we needed. And we appreciate you for that even more than you could ever imagine. So I want to say thank you, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Oh, Jackie. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Oh, and I'm not actually doing my duties if I don't report on this.
Any clerk reports?
Yes, upcoming scheduled public hearings. You're welcome, John, that you're done after tonight. Because no more public hearings for you, Jackie and staff and council. April 3rd, 2025, we have 2 public hearings scheduled that evening. First, a request for a zoning code text amendment regarding the applicability of architectural review. Second, a request for a major site plan partial amendment at the Greenbrier Hill Country Club at 12665 Big Bend Boulevard to expand the approved sound mitigating fence. That's all I have.
Thank
For the
you very
record,
much.
I really wanted to come to that meeting, but Pat and I are going to the hockey game instead.
Not
Meet
gonna
you
get
there,
a quorum.
Mark, let's hope not. Let's hope not. All right, well, what a meeting tonight. Seeing no further business, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on Thursday, April 3rd, 2025